Hey folks, it's Andy Stoyer here at Helpware, and I'm sitting here with Shankar Sahai from Improvado, and we're going to talk a little bit about the customer experience, the customer journey, and some things that Improvado are doing to handle the growth in their business. So pleasure to have you here. Thanks for joining me.
Nice to be here.
Great. So tell me a little bit about yourself, and why don't we start there?
Yeah, sure. So, I have, been working in the marketing area for a while. And then about 6 months ago, I got an opportunity to, be with Improvado. And so currently I'm the Chief Customer Officer and co-founder at Improvado.io.
Great. I love titles like Chief Customer Officer. What exactly is that?
So Chief Customer Officer is basically making sure that all our customers are getting their needs met at the highest level, right? So we want to make sure that they have, getting the maximum, use from our platform, that they have their issues getting resolved, that they have, any other business needs that we can meet that we are not doing today, to get that input from them and take it back to our product team. So it's kind of like a both two-way kind of street, where we are kind of giving them guidance and we're giving them help, and at the same time listening to them and trying to see what else they're telling us that we should be doing and that we are not. Right,
so it's a little bit of a listening, but it's also probably informs your product roadmap a bit when you hear requests that they have.
Oh yeah, big time. So basically currently where we are in our startup stage and growth phase, a lot of the product roadmap is driven by the needs from our customers that we hear. So I probably have more to do with the product roadmap than any other individual in the company right now.
It's really interesting. Yeah, and so not much is talked about in terms of operationally how companies are organized to be able to support growth. You guys are a fast-growing company. And it's always exciting to look behind the curtain a little bit and see how companies are scaling their business, and what are some things that you think about, especially as it comes to the customer experience and the customer journey, and how you think about that and align the team around that. How are you thinking about that at Improvado?
So that's a great question. So basically, so we have sales team that closes the deal, right? So we play a little bit of role in the pre-sales cycle, but once we have a customer signed up, then what we have is, we have a call or a kind of a meeting between the sales team and the support side of things. And on the support side, we have a dedicated a customer success manager, CSM as we call them, right, and attached to every customer. And so they meet with the account executive or the salesperson, and then we kind of meet, and figure out what is it that was sold, what is the customer needs, what are the expectations, what are the timeline expectations, because that's a big thing especially during the onboarding phase of the customer journey through Improvado. And then once we have that figured out and we have a good understanding, that's when we kind of kick things off, have customer meetings and things like that, walk them through the onboarding phase, which we kind of structure around in our industry, the ETL, which is extract, transform, load, visualization, that kind of phases of onboarding. And then once that happens, then we are kind of working in a steady state and working with the customer on not just issues, so that we expect them not to contact us only when they have problems, but even reach out to us when they are thinking of something new. And they signed up new clients of their own. So we want to be involved in that process. We want to be able to see how they can use our platform better to meet the new clients' needs. Because just like for us, no two customers are the same. Mm-hmm. The same thing is applicable to each one of our customers. So each of their clients is a little different from the other client that they had. And so they give us valuable feedback, and we are able to give them guidance on things and maybe some of the features that were not there, because we are a fast evolving platform. Some of the features which may not have been there 3 months ago or 2 months ago or even a month ago, right? So we can bring them up to speed. So it's always a constant give and take, and kind of making sure that they're successful, that they can use our platform not just for their client one, but for all their clients.
Right.
So it is for us to make sure that all our customers can meet their needs for all their clients.
And tell me about Improvado. What is the product?
So Improvado at the highest level is a tool to collect your marketing data. Mm-hmm. So basically, in today's marketing world, the marketers have to reach their audience. They need to use multiple channels. You can reach some audience with Facebook, with LinkedIn, with Twitter, with Outbrain, with a bunch of other platforms out there. It's not just one thing. It's not just TV or radio and you're done, right? So it's a whole bunch of digital platforms that are available. So the flip side of that, though, is that it does give you the reach that you need of the various audience segments. But the problem is that your data is also now kind of split across different platforms. Mm-hmm. And to have any meaningful analysis of your data to see how things are moving in your platform and which is what's working in platform A versus platform B, the first thing you need to do is to collect all the data in one place. Mm-hmm. Once you get the data in one place, now you can do stuff to it. Like you can analyze, you can visualize, you can slice, dice, you can do all kinds of good stuff to it, right? So that's where actually Improvado comes in. So we can get data from all these platforms. We have integrations built out to close to 100 different platforms, and we get all this data and we can put it in pretty much any format you need, and from that point on, we will help you make best use of your data.
That's great. And so because you have all these integrations, I'm sure in that onboarding process, there are a lot of questions that come up about maybe the data is not rendering properly, or maybe customers are having issues with double tagging, or certain issues that make their data not correct, which probably creates customer support challenges for you.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So that does happen. That in fact would constitute a good chunk of the issues that come to us as kind of related to that. Mm-hmm. And in most cases, what we find is that the data is misunderstood the way it's being presented to the customer. Mm-hmm. What I mean by that is that let's just to take an example, they might have filtered some data out in what they're comparing us against. But our data is maybe at the raw level. It's collecting everything without mm-hmm. any filters, and so it's like, okay, you're comparing green apples to red apples, maybe not apples to oranges, but now maybe you turn on the green button over here, and then boom, you see, the two green apples match.
Right.
So it's kind of like that. We have a lot of that, or sometimes there are some other provider latencies in terms of how soon the data is made available to anyone getting the data through APIs and such. Mm-hmm. So there are issues like that, but again, we have to kind of figure out at what level of the data the issue is mm-hmm. versus what the perception of the data mismatches.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so in your sales process, what does the handoff from sales to customer success look like, to onboarding all the way through customer support?
Yeah, so basically, during the pre-sales cycle, we work, with the sales team in terms of, what the requirements are and things of that nature, right? But at the same time, they also collect a lot of great information from the prospects during the pre-sales cycle. So what we have to then do is kind of, once they sign, is to have a kind of a formalized meeting with sales to make sure that we are both in sync, we are both marching to the same tune, and that we have the same set of requirements that they have collected and that we might have got, and that everybody's is on the same page, basically, right? Mm-hmm. And then once we get this kind of firm understanding of what this customer needs, then we can kind of move forward in terms of getting a customer a kickoff call going. Again, making sure that the customer understands that this is what we expect that we will deliver. This is some of the things that they need to do for us, because this is also the time when we have to make sure that they understand for this onboarding to be successful, mm-hmm. it's going to be a handshake for both sides to come to the table with some information from them, from us, and then we basically drive the onboarding. The CSM drives the onboarding to completion, and then beyond completion, we kind of work with them to make sure that we have the knowledge transfer, the training, all those kinds of other tools that they would need to make maximum use from our platform. Mm-hmm. So basically, that's how it moves.
And so, what tools do you use to retain that and kind of build your own knowledge base of all that information? Because every customer is different, but you want to standardize the process. So how do you do that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question again. So what we have is, just to answer this specific question about how we manage the knowledge. So we use a tool called Rizoma. It's kind of a collaboration / knowledge repository for us. So for all customers, we create a topic and then we kind of have every single thing that you know about the customer in there. So let's say we have to people go on vacations and you want somebody else to cover for someone who's on a couple of days of leave or something, then you can go and quickly check in this in this resume knowledge base as to what everything that we know about a customer. So that is one place that you go to. The other place, of course, is to look for issues and things like that we use Jira for that. And so you can always look for and see, what are all the tickets that we opened up and what was the resolution, so what are the problems and things of that nature. So those are kind of the two knowledge-related tools. And in addition, we of course use things like Salesforce and other things just for kind of tactical bookkeeping and things like that.
And Jira is where you manage all of your customer support tickets?
Yes, we use Jira for that. That's correct.
And how big is your customer support team? And tell me a little bit about how you're looking at growth there.
So on the support side of things, we can actually divide it up into two teams, right? So we have a CSM team, so that is the a dedicated assigned CSM per account, and then we also have a separate dedicated technical support team, and the CSM work closely with the customers, and as I said, this is a long-term relationship. They know the main players, they know what kind of problems they have run into in the past maybe, or what kind of business use case they're trying to to deliver against. So that and then we have the technical support team, who are actually people who have a lot of technical skills, and they will help CSM team in many cases to triage a problem, to come up with some workarounds or fixes and things of that nature. So that is kind of like the first support kind of tier. And then behind it, of course, we have the development team who wrote the product and everything. So they are the ones that will help us out in case we are totally stuck and we need help. So it's kind of we use them as well. So that's how we kind of structure our support tiers for customers.
That's great. And how do you measure success? Like what are target KPIs that you look at so that you can say this is either too long of a cycle to resolve a particular issue for a client, or this is exactly the sweet spot of where we want to be?
No, I mean, so the most important KPI, which again I think is not going to be a surprise for anyone, is churn in the CSM support roles. That's basically what the gold standard is. You want to make sure that you keep manage your churn, because in any SaaS-based business, that is kind of your success criteria is that, right? In addition to that, we also monitor and measure how long does it take to onboard someone, right? How long does it take to resolve a ticket? How many tickets are we getting? Because a lot of times, if you're getting a lot of tickets, it may be because either they're not using your product right, maybe they don't have the training that they need, or maybe there's some issues with that part of the product, right? So those are the kind of things. And of course, the thing is, for us to manage the amount of issues, we have to be able to kind of isolate each of these things quickly enough so that we know, okay, we need to do this differently, or get a separate time for them, do a quick knowledge transfer training, make sure that they understand where we are with what they need to do, and things of that nature. So those are kind of the various KPIs that we use.
That's great.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the training process. How do you get everybody up to speed with not just the benchmark of the product set, but there's future releases that are coming up?
Yeah, so we basically right now we obviously train the people that are going to be onboarding with us and make sure that they understand how they're going to use our product, right? So that is one level of training. Now, in terms of ongoing training, as we release features, we communicate that out to our customers and say, okay, hey, we added something new here. This may be of interest to you, or we added some other changes to some other feature which might be relevant for you, and then based on basically if they think that's going to be something they want to use, then we will kind of set up a separate one-off or a dedicated training for them, so that they can invite their colleagues and such, and then we can talk about that feature and just train them. Okay, this is how this feature works. So it's kind of an ongoing process. It's not like maybe some of other companies might be doing structured 6-month courses and certifications and things like that. We do more on a as needed, pull-driven training as needed by our customers.
Right. And are you training your customer support reps as well as part of an ongoing process?
Yeah. So we basically what we do is, the support team gets like a sneak peek, for want of a better word, into new features that are going to be released. So they are able to kind of go in and look at things and play with it and see how it's working, and if need be, hit up our product team and ask them some clarifications or questions or things of that nature. And then internally we then discuss in our weekly meetings and such to make sure that everybody understands that we have additional features that we have in our tool belt.
That's great. And so as you're looking forward, what are some challenges that you see in terms of scaling the businesses, and how are you thinking about that from whether it's a framework perspective in terms of problem solving, and how do you prioritize the operation side of it?
Yeah, no, I mean, so the thing is that we kind of have to balance between what the customer, where the customer is taking us and against the broader strategic, vision for the company. And it's always a balancing act, right? So we want to make sure that we are able to fulfill the customer needs and at the same time have a framework of growth that works for Improvado and can continue to work for our existing customers and the new customers or prospects that we are shooting for. So that is kind of the framework that we work with. So it's not like we are going to do A and not B, versus it's kind of like let's just make sure that we are able to meet our customer needs as well as work within the framework for the company's vision.
Great. And can you give us any kind of sneak peek as to what's coming up and some of the exciting things that you guys are working on?
Yeah, no, sure, absolutely. So one of the goals that we have for 2018, as I said, we have about 100 integrations. Integrations is like the most important thing for us. So we are shooting to have another 400 for a total of 500 integrations.
Great.
And by the end of the year. And the other thing is that actually we are kind of completely revamping the entire stack of our product and what we're calling Improvado 2.0. And it's going to have a boatload of features in it and ease of use, ease of being able to create custom match joins of data and things of that nature. So it's going to be good.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Shankar, thank you so much. It's Shankar Sahai from Improvado. It's improvado.io. And thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
See you next time.